Welcome, Sinwi. Let's see what we got here. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to a super late version. How are you guys? Thank you for the likes. Welcome to another super late version of Simulation Talk, the Simulation Talk 56. Welcome. This is the second time I get to do this pretty late, which last time I did this, my experience was interesting because a lot more people showed up, which was not expected for me. Have you ever seen the Mechanical Elves? Yeah, I see a guy who I guess you can categorize as him. Welcome, Stan. Welcome, Y. Thank you for the question, Keith. So yeah, we'll see what happens today. But today, I know it's a very late episode. Welcome everybody to all the newcomers, which it seems like when I do it later, there are a lot of newcomers. So welcome everybody. If you see me a little sweaty, it's because it's very hot and there's no AC in this Airbnb. Today I'm streaming at you from San Diego. And this channel mostly revolves around the simulation hypothesis. My name is Danny, and I'm claiming to have found actual proof that we live in a simulation. Not a philosophical proposition, but an actual proof that we live in a simulation. I've devised an experiment a few years ago that seemed to now been replicated over 1,000 times worldwide. We can talk about the specifics. We meet here on the daily to discuss the experiment, the implications, and also science, religion, spirituality, philosophy, and whatever comes to mind. So welcome everybody. I'm gonna wait maybe 30 more seconds or 1 minute for more people to arrive. Anybody who's here and would like to hear more and likes the subject, first of all, you can always check out my YouTube channel, Dango Thoughts, 3 words, which my videos are a little longer than TikTok and encompass more information about everything I'm talking about. Again, it's 3 words, Dan, D-A-N, Go, G-O, Thoughts. And to all the newcomers, I will quickly recap what the experiment is. Essentially, I discovered that if you project a 650 nanometers diffracted laser, apologies, my brain is a little tired right now, and you project it on the surface, and you inject a particular molecule that I cannot name on this live chat, you will see code running in surfaces. Like I said, this experiment has now been replicated over 1,000 times worldwide, and I am in contact with some of the leading researchers in the field. If you're here and you enjoy this topic and you want to talk about more things, yeah, that sentence was great. Please tap the screen, give it a little bit more likes, just so we have more people in the chat and we can start a fun conversation. A couple of days ago, somebody brought up some specific elements of quantum computation that might be relevant and interesting. So I was thinking about maybe opening it up today slightly, but I don't know if Nico is going to be here, the guy who brought it up. And I want to make sure he's present. If not, we can always talk about whatever we feel like. Welcome. So once again, YouTube channel is Dango Thoughts. We're here daily talking about the simulation hypothesis, science, religion, spirituality, physics, religion, whatever comes to mind. The thrust behind my channels are the fact that I'm claiming to have found proof that we actually live in a simulation. And I am talking about an experiment that anybody can run. You want to see my ears? I think you can see my ears, no? How long have you been training for? Oh, BJJ. Yeah, this is an imposter shirt. This is a good friend of mine's, Jim BMAC. Love to you, BMAC. It's a 10th Planet in Alabama. He's a black belt under Eddie Bravo. He's a really good friend and an incredible human being. And one time we were in Costa Rica together, and I needed a shirt. I don't remember why. and so he gave me one of his shirts. But yeah, I used to do martial arts. I did some Muay Thai, kickboxing, a little bit of MMA when I was younger. But for a long, long time, I wasn't doing any of that. So this is literally an imposter shirt. But I'm probably gonna go back and train soon. So maybe it won't be an imposter then. Is Eddie okay after his surgery? As far as I know, yeah, he's better than ever. And after stem cell, yeah. You should train, bro. It'll help spirituality. Yeah, I know. No, I love BJJ. I mean, I've done a few. I can't say I train BJJ because I don't do it on a regular basis, but I've done it a few times. Like I'm familiar, and I am surrounded by some pretty badass Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu people all the time. So, yeah, I love BJJ. Yeah, no, I've done it. I've trained a little bit in Cobrinha in LA. Where else? Took a couple of classes from. It was in Pasadena. Who was it by? I forget. Anyways, I took one class with because of Brandon. I took one class with Eddie actually, which was amazing because I took one of their like advanced classes, which I definitely didn't belong in, but they were very, very great, gracious and didn't mop the floor with me entirely. So it was a lot of fun because at least I got a really good workout, and they were very gentle with me, obviously. So I really love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Do you train other martial arts? Yeah, like I said, I used to do MMA and Muay Thai and a little bit of boxing. But that was a very long time ago. We're talking about like 25, 30 years ago. Okay, so let's dive into... Oh yeah, bravo, bro. Eddie, let me tell you something. Eddie is so not what you expect. And maybe it's clear to some people, but to me it wasn't. I got to spend some time with him and chat with him, and dude, he's an amazing human being, truly. I don't know if you guys know this, but do you know that he does not charge any royalties from anybody under him who's opening a 10th Planet gym or from merch or anything? He just wants everybody to succeed. He never took one dime from any of his students that opened 10th Planet around the country. Not one dime. I was blown away by this. It's amazing. Yeah. So on YouTube, we have a question from Nick. How are you, Nick Gunter? I sometimes wonder if I'm also simulated. What deja vu is. If this is a hologram, what would be outside the hologram? Don't know what else to do except keep pushing the limits and testing reality. So this is a point that comes up a lot in when you talk about the simulation, and I get it, and I'm starting to feel that maybe we need to develop a better language to discuss these things. But at least when I say we live in a simulation, what is meant by that is not that we live in a computer. What is meant by that is that whatever the fundamental world is computational. So the base, what you would call base reality, is computational, and what we call physical reality is just a substrate. It's just a subspace. So it's a slice of larger computational space. It is also why it's more limited than the infinite possibilities of the computational space. And when we discovered computation, essentially what we discovered is the tail end of the functionality of what computation really is in its totality. And we're utilizing it to do more things than we could if we would just be manipulating physical matter. That's essentially the proposition. So it kind of collapses the need to ask the question, are we in base reality? Are we in a simulated reality? Computation is the base reality, is the proposition. I hope this makes some sense of it. Also, very important to mention, there's a whole book on this called Reality Plus by David Chalmers, but you don't need to read a whole book just to understand this concept. There is no distinction between if you are living in, one of the slices of reality, because everybody are. You want me to help you with that?
Sorry.
it was way longer than it needed to be.
It was comically
like,
long.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it, I just gotta rip it off like a Band-Aid.
So it doesn't really matter what layer of reality you live in. It's always real. That's a very important point. There is no such thing as it doesn't make any sense to say that it's not real. It is real as long as anybody's experiencing it. So that's an important data point. Whoop, something got stuck. Let's see. Camera 1, camera 2. Seems people hear that. Wait, what? Camera 1, camera 2. Seems people hear that. I don't know what that means. That's the sauce. Over the Rainbow Clayworks. How did you come up with that handle? Good dude. I'm assuming that's about Eddie. Yeah, Eddie's amazing. I got the full spiel in person about how space is fake, by the way. That was incredible. I think my conclusion is, and I don't know if that's the case, of course, but I do think that Eddie is trolling more than anything else. I think that it doesn't really matter to him. And I think, again, I might be wrong, of course. But it seems like what is funny to him is that how much it matters to prove otherwise to other people. And I think that's the thing that is funny to him. He already has his thing, right? He's really good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He built a whole world around it. He's known worldwide, loved worldwide. So he's already super successful, made it to the other end, so to speak, of whatever he loves. So he doesn't really care about this stuff. He just I think it's fun for him to watch people squirm when they're trying to, that doesn't make any sense. I think it's just really funny to him. As long as we are laughing and smiling, love and care is real. I think as long as you're experiencing anything, it's real. Because, I'm all with you that we should aim towards more love and smiles. But, that's not always the case. And it's still very real. Hey, Dan, been watching your videos on YouTube. Good stuff. I appreciate you. Curve 3. Mary. It's fake in the sense that it was created by TV, movies, etc. that people believe is true. Gotcha. My art is about sharing the same emotions, seeing a rainbow evokes as true vessels. And that sounds like a noble goal. I like it. Nick, by the way, does that make any sense, what I said? And welcome to all the people if you're joining us from X or Twitch. Just to kind of give people an understanding, the people that just joined, what I discovered a few years ago is that if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you ingest a particular molecule that I cannot name, you will see code running in surfaces. And this is the same across individuals, across time, and it seems to be very concrete. I was vocal about this for the last few years. How do we create a glitch? I'm not sure. I think glitches are there all the time. But also, it would imply that, again, the ideas of glitch or the ideas of hacking something, they imply that there's already some kind of end goal that is already decided in the game, and you can either circumvent the steps towards it, or you can fast forward and watch what happens. Or a glitch would imply that something breaks and you see a little crack in the system, and then you can see into the real world. Now, I guess you can call these molecules that, right? Because you can see more than what you usually do. But I don't think they're glitches because, again, reality itself is computational. And this requires to open up the idea of what computation actually is, and at the bottom what quantum computation is, which is essentially what Nico was bringing up the other day, and I'm definitely going to wait for him to be here to actually talk about it more. But I think that it wouldn't be a glitch. It would be another function that is possible in the computational space. Watch your interview with Vopson, Information, State of Matter. Oh, thank you, NoCurve23. Did you enjoy it? So what NoCurve23 is referring to on YouTube is that on my YouTube channel, Dan Go Thoughts, I have an interview with the physicist Melvin Vopson, who discovered what he calls the second law of infodynamics. Essentially, a regulation through this. He wrote a book about it. There's an expansion on a paper that he wrote on the subject. And what he discovered is that when you look at computational systems, biological systems, physical systems, and when you look at symmetries in nature, you discover that they seem to be ordered and structured in such a way that you would expect a computational system to behave if you would have some kind of a attempt to optimize a computational system. Essentially, hinting at the fact that we do live in quote unquote the matrix. And it's a fun interview. You should check it out on Dango Thoughts on YouTube. What did you think about it, by the way? Yeah, it's a lot to think. Different interior today? Yeah, well, Mr. Z, I'm in an Airbnb in San Diego, here for an event. A friend invited me, actually, to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu event tomorrow. There's like a big event, some kind of a, it's gonna be fun. And also probably gonna meet up with John Dean. Very excited about that. He's such a great guy. Different painting on the wall. What is on the? I have no idea, man. That's not. It's just an Airbnb painting. The best corner of the house that I found. Hello, this came up on my homepage. Video that may interest you. Well, I'm glad you're here. I had to click on it, so I started live streaming recently too. Oh, well, welcome. And I love that your handle is Government Corp Watch. Well, Government Corp Watch. This channel is mostly talking about the simulation hypothesis. My name is Danny, and I'm actually claiming to have found proof that we live in a simulation. Some people say the government knows about it. I would say they do not. But ultimately, who knows, right? And we're meeting here every single day to discuss physics, philosophy, spirituality, religion, including talking about the specifics of the discovery of the experiment that I've devised. And that's what this channel is about. What is your channel about? Let's see what we got on TikTok. So you are saying that we are living in a coded universe. We are living in a computational universe, which is a little different than saying that it's coded. Coding is something that is possible in the computational space, but if the computational space is fundamental, which I'm claiming it is, then the functionality of computation can essentially, no, I think saying compute itself would be misleading. How should we phrase this? It can have internal regularities that can evolve into the ability of. Oh, by the way, just so you know, you're in it. I don't care if you're in it, but just if you didn't want to.
Oh, I'm in it?
I don't care. Just letting you know. I don't know if you were trying to be.
Just the camera.
Yeah, I don't care. Well, this is part of the. We're also shooting me doing the live for the documentary. So what was I saying? Oh, so what it can create is inside the Turing complete system, you would have subspaces that allow for the iteration of certain regularities that can create functions. That's the best way to say this. And that you can call coding. In other words, you can tell the system through sending particular signals of ones and zeros what to do, and then it will execute it. But the fundamental world itself, the fabric of reality itself, is made out of the same material that is malleable in that way. I don't know if that makes more sense of it, but I was trained by Mary, given a great mind, talent, and learned lessons. Who is Mary? Oh, I always look at the back of the picture in hotels, secret notes sometimes. Nice. How do you test it? Okay. So what you have to do is you have to project a diffracted laser on the surface. Very simple. If you go to codeofreality.com, we have a list of the exact parts you can get from Amazon or Alibaba. Super simple. Shouldn't be expensive. The whole thing shouldn't cost you more than $30 to $50. And it has to be diffracted. And under no circumstances do not use a laser that is more than 5 milliwatts. Reason being, anything above that, even if you just project it on the surface, eventually the photons that go back to your eye, they have enough power output to actually give you a headache or even potentially do a cornea damage. So never above 5 milliwatts, no matter what you do. And then you ingest a particular molecule that I cannot name here, but you can also use mushrooms, and Aya works as well. We had a shaman testing that tested this. and you will look into the, if you watch my videos, by the way, you will see the specifics because it's important to understand the details. On codeofreality.com, you also have the protocol, what you have to follow and kind of do. And if you watch my videos, either YouTube on Dango Thoughts or here, that are actually pinned to the top. In fact, here on TikTok, the video that is pinned to the top on the right, the most right one, it's a demonstration of exactly what we're doing. And if you look through it sounds weird, but if you look through the surface of where we're projecting the laser, you will see code running in it. And that code is extremely coherent and very robust. It has its own spatial coordinates. It's behaving completely obliviously to you. In other words, it doesn't care when you move. It's still doing its own thing, just like when you're looking through a microscope, essentially. So that in a nutshell is the experiment. What's your proof we're in a simulation? I just spoke about it. So now that by itself obviously does not prove in a simulation, but there's a lot of data points that we're working on a documentary right now, talking about all the details and what that means and implies. And we're gonna have some fun conversations with scientists, and we're gonna have the full details of how I arrived at my conclusions. And I'm very excited to present this because it's gonna be a fun ride. Zip Zap is a fun comment. Thank you for that. Let's see what we got here. Is Elon Musk a mod for simulation? Sorry for my ignorance. What is a mod? Can you explain that to me? Hey Aaron, what's a mod?
A mod, like in a video game.
What is that?
That's like a modifier, like somebody wears a new skin or.
Oh, he's like a new iteration. Maybe, man. Like, I mean, Jesus. How many things can one person do in one lifetime? Seriously, either you like him or you hate him. Still, it's just crazy. Okay. Respect for that. I'm Neo. Hey Neo, how you doing, man? Steve K. I'm Sasquatch. This chat is amazing. So we're all ones and zeros? Not quite. I think that ultimately that's like actually a really good question. I think that I'm not ignoring YouTube. I'm gonna comment in one moment. The short answer is no. I think the ultimate thing is that consciousness is fundamental, but the way it expresses itself when you look at it through third person is what appears to be computation. I hope this helps a little bit. But essentially, just like the brain is a third person representation of what consciousness is from the inside, in the same way, what fundamental consciousness is from a third person perspective, some would say it's what the physical universe is. I would say it's what computation is at the bottom. And they're one part of the same coin. YouTube, I'm with you. So let's see. That's cool that you're in San Diego. Lived there in the 90s for a bit. It's a nice place. It's a really nice place. Where do you live now? Government Corp Watch says, I recently posted a video on the information theory of consciousness, exactly simulation theory. Oh, incredible. So we're YouTube neighbors. This guy talks about info theory of consciousness on my channel too. Caucasian Divine 5D versus Imperfect 3D. Greg Rosenberg, PhD consciousness. Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing. I always ask, why is there's this tendency to always call 3D incomplete or imperfect? It's just a layer. They're all incomplete. All of them are imperfect. In order to be perfect means to not exist, because if it's perfect, it contains all of the opposite versions of all the elements of itself, so it cancels itself out by definition. Have you seen the Schwarzschild proton? Essentially, every proton is a black hole. Is second in gravity makes it act like a third. Yeah, I know. I'm familiar. This is what's his name? Spacing with his name right now. Nassim, right? Yeah, I've heard of it. It's a cool theory. There's just thousands of them on offer, So until we test something, it doesn't mean much. I plan on testing out your experiment myself soon. I've seen something similar on psilocybin. So just so you know, it is possible to see a code without the laser. Either some people say they see it naturally because they're more sensitive, and or on substances, but I'm claiming that's not quite the same code, because the code you see on other substances, well, it's not the substance, but like when you see it without the laser, without the specificity of the laser, that code, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a code that is more subsumed in surfaces, and it kind of moves like in bigger patterns, and you can see it rotate. If you pay close attention, you'll see that you can actually see the language. You can actually change it with your attention to different things. The thing in the laser you can't really change, no matter what you try. Like, it's just what it is. It's just literally coding for the objective layer of reality, whatever it is. It definitely appears very differently. It's very it's actually jarring how mundane and concrete it is. But yeah, again, all the accounts that you guys want to share in detail, you're more than welcome to. You can always email me at lasersimulationx@gmail.com. Once again, it's lasersimulationx@gmail.com. And I look at all my emails. If you live stream every day about the simulation sub, yep, I do. Where else are you streaming? Thank you for the question, Gone Corp. Also on TikTok, which my handle there is just Danny Goler, and on X, which is Goler Danny, Goler Danny, Danny, and Twitch. But X and Twitch, I just started. I barely have any followers there, so it's better. The only other good alternative is TikTok, just because there's a lot of traffic happening there usually, a lot more than, let's say, usually on YouTube. But on YouTube, you don't have the characters limitation, which is a plus. What do you mean by codes running in? Please explain. Absolutely. Oh, New York City. I love New York. We're in New York, by the way. Truth Seeker, to your question. Thank you for the question. What do you mean by code running? That is a great question. I think on the surface of it, it's not that clear. So literally like what you see in the Matrix, you see in every single surface where you project the laser when you're in the molecule. It has, the code behaves in very particular ways. It's not just kind of like the light creating some kind of an illusion. It's clear to you that the thing is not really produced by the light, because when you move the light, the thing is still doing its thing. It's like a flashlight that you're revealing something in the dark, basically. It looks more like you're looking through a microscope, essentially. So the code looks kind of like in the movie, weirdly enough. Kind of like Japanese katakana combined with some Hebrew letters and regular numbers, like 0 to 5. And when I say all of these things, the Japanese, the numbers, it's kind of like, it's not exactly any of these things. It's more like alien language that resemble the things I just mentioned. And you can look on all my videos here on YouTube and also on TikTok. It's just on TikTok you have shorter versions. But if you search on my channel the word, well, I can't say the word here because it's a live stream, but the name of the spirit molecule, if you type it in on my channel, you'll find the videos related. Or just put the word simulation or laser, and it will find all of the videos related to that. Perfection is a process, not an end state. Right. But perfection just doesn't exist, right? Greg Rosenberg covers your question, actually. Sure, I'll check it out. I've never found one satisfactory frame, to be honest, because I think people always miss a portion, and then they don't realize they miss it. But I'm always open to learn more. So, 23 New York City is the fourth sovereign city. 23 New York City is the fourth sovereign state besides Vatican City of London. I did not know that. That's interesting. And DC, New York City was taken over by the UN. Stunning revelations. It's on my channel. Cool. I'll check out your channel, brother. Thank you for coming by. Personally, I see Nassim Haramein as a charlatan trying to make money on pseudoscience, in my view. Yeah, I get that vibe too, I'll be honest. I'll tell you why, because he sells magic necklaces on TikTok, on Instagram. What physicist does that? I know a lot of people love him, but I think, listen, I think he's just capitalizing on people's, it's just like Terrence Howard, right? You capitalize on people's misunderstandings of these things. It is not to say that somebody he is a physicist, right? But it's weird because there's so many different things that you can do. I guess, look, I understand it. You have to stand out somehow. But the second you start playing with, again, magic necklaces without actually giving it any real explanation of what's going on there and how it works, you can't possibly expect to be taken seriously as a physicist from that point on. And that's totally on him, by the way. Yeah, it's kind of like Mayan hieroglyphs is what I'm seeing. I'm in the Bronx. Yeah. The Bronx, man. The Bronx is the one place that just basically... Is that still true? Because when I visited, I actually been to the Bronx. When was the last time I was? I love New York. It's one of my favorite places. I've been to the Bronx last time maybe 3 years ago? No, right before the pandemic. It felt like... Maybe it was just the time of the day, I don't know. But it felt like it's the one thing, it's the one place in New York that hasn't really changed since the 90s. Because, you had, like, Williamsburg used to be, rough. And now it's, like, really nice and all of that. But the Bronx just feel like it's the Bronx, Is that still the case? Or you guys have, like, really nice things there? I'm heavily centered on X. Subbed on X for you too. Wait, what is... Sorry. I'm so sorry because I'm usually so ignorant with like slang and stuff. What does subbed mean? You mean like followed me? Thank you. Yeah, the spirit molecule, exactly. I think YouTube are a little bit more lenient, but if I put that word in a chat on TikTok, they'll flag us. That's how crazy it is. But yeah. Realistically, if this turns out to be true empirically, it will be greatest discovery of all time. Yep. Although, to be honest, and I don't know if I'm trying to kind of, lower it a little bit because it feels like too much responsibility. I mean, in the end of the day, look, whatever is real, and we just got to be accepted, right? But I do believe that the laser discovery is just a tiny portion of the full puzzle, and this is why I made it public, because I do believe that the actual discovery, like the full scope of what's going on, will be made by all of us. I guess the way that I see my role is kind of like like a unit around which people aggregate and they work together towards understanding it. And that's what I think should happen, both from the spiritual perception of the world, scientific perception of the world. You need to be able to bring these two hemispheres together to actually crack the code. That's what I think. But yeah, it is true, which sometimes is kind of wild to think about. Necklace costs a fortune. Yeah. He patented the look of the necklace. Nothing scientific whatsoever. Greed. Yeah. Oh, by the way, just one thing, Mr. Z, because I agree with you, okay? But I just want to point something out. I don't see anything like, I have no problem with capitalism. I don't know if I'm upsetting anybody here, but like, if you have a way to make money by selling something that people want, there's no issue with that. Everybody has to eat. That's fine. The whole idea is around value, right? But if you manufacture value, okay, so there's different layers to it. You can manufacture value by playing something up, right? Which is advertising, which is fine. We all know it. It's fine. It's fine. But if you manufacture value on the hint of the basis of your scientific credentials in a way that has nothing to do with your scientific credentials, now you're in straight up charlatan. That's the definition of it. I'm gentrifying it. Just kidding. That's funny. So I got my answer. Yes, sub equals follow. Okay, I'll follow you back. Thank you so much. I don't mind being flagged for filling in gaps. No, I mean the channel might be flagged. I think YouTube is okay, but how do you come up with adding an electronic circuit to the laser? That's actually a really good question. A little embarrassing. I'll tell you in one moment. By the way, I posted the Greg Rosenberg video to your X live stream for you to check out later. Thank you. The information theory he gets into is amazing. He pulls apart cause no, I will definitely check it out. I'm always interested. I always like to know what's out there. By the way, GovCorp Watch. If you want me to call you by your name, you can just tell me what your name is, and I can call you by your name, or I can keep calling you by the handle. But GovCorp Watch. You should watch my conversation with Melvin Bobson on my channel here on YouTube. It's probably like 4 conversations back from the first one, from the immediate. The last one is with the scientist Lev Levitin, but the one before. Oh, Brad. Nice to meet you. Oh, I mean, it's just easier to say than Government Corp Watch. That's all. Nice to meet you, Brad. I'm Danny, by the way. So, yeah, if you watch my conversation with Melvin Bobson, here, I'll type it in because it's a weird name. He's a physicist who actually discovered that he wrote a paper that basically hints at the fact that we do live in a simulation, and he approaches it from a very interesting perspective. But I'll definitely check out Greg Rosenberg. I'm actually writing it down. But you also said that you put it on my thing, right? Thank you. Amazing. Yeah, it was a good one. So do you believe in manifest through telling the system what you want? Yes, I do, however, think that people that talk about manifestation completely gloss over the fact that, well, there's still a hiatus, right? There's still momentum to what we call the physical world. Even if you want to say this is all just a conviction story, like a consensus that we all arrived at, which I think is a bit anthropocentric, if you ask me, right? But yes, I do think that the code also picks up on what we really want to make sense to us. I do believe that. However, and I know my regular viewers will roll their eyes because I probably bring this example up every single chat, but it's so simple. You can't walk through walls. Simple. You can't walk through walls. So, and that is being overlooked. And then when you point that out, they're like, well, it's okay, well, so it's not that different than physical reality, right? It just means that there is this extra functionality that you can operate with that does pick up on it, but you have to think of it still in scientific terms, because if it's real, it's real. And you don't have to avert your gaze and pretend like it's not there and all that stuff. It's whatever's real is real. Please, right, Mr. Z, sorry, you're right. The reason that I built the circuit originally is because that's my fiance's dad is he's an engineer, and when I got the first laser, there were no lasers available anywhere because it was during COVID. And ironically, the only place you could get a laser from was China. And because of the craziness, it took it like 3 or 4 months to get to me. And in addition to that, there was nothing else available. There were no laser pointers anymore. I don't know why. But you could only get this one laser that you had to build a circuit for. So now I knew nothing about soldering or circuits or anything like that. So I asked him how to do it. So he sent me a simple schematic. That schematic included a circuit. That's the circuit I made. And I now know, by the way, because now I have a few people that made simpler versions of the laser that doesn't have to be that crazy clunky. Like I brought one of my original ones I can show you in one moment. It's like super convoluted and janky, and you can make them like this small with 5 milliwatts, everything you need, right? But I did discover that these older ones that I've built, they have a much nicer output and they last longer. So the short version is that's just the first thing that somebody that knows what they're doing sent me, and that's what I did. But it does work better and work longer. The truth is that because you're not producing that much power, you're not connecting it to crazy output, even the on-off switch, if it's external, it already functions as a good enough of a resistor to allow for the circuit to be a good circuit. That's the truth. But if you add the other parts that I have that in my original video how to make the laser, it will work better and longer. That's all. But the circuit just allows longevity of the diode would be longer. There's no big jumps in the power, so it lasts longer and it shines nicer. So like the output actually gets the full robustness of its power. And yeah, it is a great question because it does confuse some people. So thank you for asking it. Oh, let me show you. This is like the original laser. See, well, this is not the original, but this is one of the first iterations. See, and it has like all this crazy. Oh, actually, I have to correct it too. So you see how it has like all the. Oh, I was in the car for a while, so it has like circuitry down here, and then look at the new one, which is like super nice, simple, compact. You can take it anywhere. What is that? This is like the shopping network. See? And if you get it right now, we'll also send you a set of knives that can cut through your shoes. See? Super simple. Take it anywhere. This is like, so big difference, but these look cooler, right? Look at it. Looks like a time machine or something. It definitely has a flex capacitor somewhere. The way Vobson discovered his potential law gives a huge hint towards simulation. Yes, that's exactly right. I'm very interested in the intersection of your work and Corey. Nature is the answer. I'm gonna write it down too. If you don't mind dropping me that link as well. Corey, nature is the answer. That's good information. Thank you. He's involved in natural law and freedom. what a sentence, man. What do you do for a living? I'm involved in natural law and freedom. Oh. Let's see what we got on TikTok. Do you believe in okay, we saw that. Zip zap. I believe we are all part of a tapestry. We are all strings of the tapestry. Change the string, and tapestry changes. It is definitely a relationship. Bernadette. It's definitely a relationship. I agree with that. Super interested in this. Yeah, awesome, Kyle. Yeah, again, anybody. By the way, anybody who just joined. My name is Danny, and I'm claiming to have found proof that we live in a simulation, and this is a daily live in which we discuss the experiment, the discovery, as well as science, religion, spirituality, philosophy, whatever comes to mind. And if anybody has a particular question, you're more than welcome to ask, or come on and talk, or you can always email me at lasersimulationx@gmail.com. I respond to all my emails. If you have a more, lengthy question or answer. Again, it's lasersimulationx@gmail.com. So do you believe in a manifest? Oh, wait. How did it jump back to this? This is so weird. What do you do with the laser? You just project it on a wall, like that, or on any surface, really. And as long as you are on a particular molecule that I cannot name here, or on mushrooms, honestly, or on Aya, it works with that as well. You will you see where the light hits the wall? If you imagine that this is a window, and you look in, you will see literally code, like in the movie The Matrix, running everywhere, running on every surface. You can do it on your skin, you can do it on everything.
Okay,
And it's...
Can I turn it live on?
Huh?
Can I turn it live on? What?
Sure. Oh, yeah, see? And the thing is that you won't... It's not like... Because of the hallucinatory effect, you can kind of see that the light is doing something to the wall. It literally looks like a flashlight is revealing something that is there, because that thing is just moving. It's kind of crazy. It's just wild, truly. Thank you, sir. I feel like it's a show and we're turning on and off. I have a lights department. Yeah. What about black holes? What about them? Wait, I'm gonna go back up just to make sure I didn't lose anything. Ooh, we have quite a few comments. Great. Nathan, good to see you. Moderator. Okay. Moderator. Yeah, I'm so terrible with slang. Wow, there's so many comments. Okay, I'm just scrolling up, guys. I'm making sure that I'm not missing anything. Hey man, people watch your video. Maybe you should answer their questions. Whose questions am I not answering? I'm trying to get through all of them. Everyone sees the same code. Yep, same one. Over 1,000 replications worldwide at this point and counting. I do mushrooms often and have never seen this. Try it with the laser. You will. On mushrooms, because it doesn't give you as much juice like the molecule does, you will need at least 3.5 grams or more to actually see it, I would say. I always felt like the inspiration for the kaleidoscope must have been seeing the code. For the kaleidoscope? How come? No, moderator moderates the audience. Are you Russian? Yes, I am. How did you know that, Andy? Is that my accent? Was that clear? Of the rainbow. Oh, wait. No, I want to be a frog. I'm green. Nathan says, glue mini mirror to something that can vibrate and different frequencies and shine laser through. Yeah, I know. You're talking about that video by Tyler. Put the mirror on a tuning fork and shine laser. Yep. Actually, there's a long list of experiments that we're planning. Wabi sabi. Hey. Are we Italian in the house here? Where can I get information on the subject? I find this interesting. Absolutely, Bernadette. So you can either go to codeofreality.com, codeofreality.com, all one word, aside from the .com. And we have the protocol, all the stuff that you potentially need to get, aside from the molecule, of course, but all the stuff that you need for the experiment. And you can always email me to get more specific information, lasersimulationx@gmail.com. I try to answer all of them. How working towards proving this, and that's so important. You're working towards proving this. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I've seen lots of ancient geometry. Where? Are you affiliated with any academic entity? I guess you can say that. So I have spoken to the leading experts, leading researchers in this field. I've spoken to the people who do the extended state research in Imperial College and also actually here in San Diego. So they're aware. And a couple of them actually even tried it and saw the code. It was interesting because one of them said, I don't know what to do with that, which was an interesting reaction. This is something I did not expect. But yeah, it's just a matter of time before I think it will find its way to like a full-blown double-blind study. But you know how these things happen. In the meanwhile, I'm working on my own sense of experiments because I think that there's a way to modify the code, or at least to create a measurable change in it. In other words, I'm trying to either expose it to very powerful electromagnetic into magnetic fields, and or project it to particular materials that might create some change in it that we can all agree on. And if you have that, now you have another layer of confidence that puts it way over the top. I mean, if you see the code, you'll see that it's just by itself very convincing. But if you can also do something physically around it that changes in a way that both you and I agree what happens to it, now it's like, that's it. We're there. Or at least we all can agree fully that this is actually happening, and now we have to think how it relates to everything else we understand about the world. At no point we should depart from what we already understand about physics, by the way. It should be a part of it and a natural flow into what we already understand. Is the molecule chemical or natural base? I don't think that this distinction actually matters, by the way, because there's no such thing as unnatural, because everything that happens in existence is natural by definition. But if you mean organic or non-organic, they use it they make it sometimes in a synthetic way, but the molecule itself is completely natural. In fact, it is something your body makes. And in fact, John Dean, the researcher here in San Diego, discovered a few years ago, because they used to think that exists in the body in trace amounts, like tiny amounts, and only when at birth and during peak experiences the body pumps a lot of it. But he discovered that is not true. He discovered that your intracranial liquid contains as much of the spirit molecule in any given time during the day that is comparable to how much dopamine and serotonin you have in your intracranial liquid. Think about that. It literally means that it's directly involved with mediating your experience right now as you're sitting. It's a central neurotransmitter that is actually doing something that we don't quite understand. When you smoke it, you just bring more of that. So you basically it's almost like you allow for more frames per second of reality itself. You allow for more of what is possible to experience to come in all at once. What do you look for to see these videos? You go to Dango Thoughts on YouTube. Again, it's DAN, one word, GO, second word, Thoughts. That's my channel. And if you search inside the channel on a browser, you can't search inside the channel on a phone, but you can just do the name of the channel and then, whatever, either the name of the molecule or the word laser or the word simulation. One of these three words. And I cannot say the name of the molecule. You just have to figure it out. It's the spirit molecule. But just go to Dango Thoughts and you can watch my videos there. If you just put the word laser or simulation inside the channel, it should pop up all the necessary videos. Actually, in my profile here on TikTok, you should have a link tree, and one of them is my YouTube channel. So can you create the laser with the sun and glass, though, because lasers are electric? So lasers are not electric. The base is not electric. They use electricity. That is true. The electricity induces a chemical response, depending on the kind of element that they use in that particular laser, because there's different ways to achieve a laser. But essentially, the definition of a laser is that it's coherent light. In other words, it's a light that all the photons are exactly at the same energy state, the same frequency, the same wavelength. That's why they're colored. So no, you cannot do it from the sun by definition, because that will not be a laser, that will be regular light. The way they achieve this is that they use electrical signals to excite electrons inside of either rubidium, I think, or depending on the material, and then it excites it to a certain orbital, and then they all drop at once. And when they do, they all these electrons basically release a photon, and by definition, that photon has the exact same. It drops by the exact right amount for all of them, so they all come out exactly from the same energy level, which creates a very coherent light. Now, in fact, the point element of the laser is not a natural thing to the laser. It doesn't have to be that way. They actually use lenses inside of the diode, inside of the enclosing of the diode, in order to channel all of them into a point. Diffraction basically just breaks that back. It opens it to like this band. But the point factor of the laser that we're familiar with, like a laser pointer, is not a necessary thing in order for it to be a laser. A laser is just the fact that it's coherent light. The profile here on this page, if you go on TikTok, on my TikTok, there's I don't remember where it is, but there should be a link tree. It should be a link somewhere up on the top under my name. And if you press on it, it should take you to a page where all my links are listed. And one of them is my YouTube channel. Oh, some of them actually are directly, I forgot about that. Some of them are my videos about this on YouTube directly. Messy. Yo. Pattern look crazy. Wait. The communication, I think I missed something about the messages. The communication between it to even pattern a look is crazy. I totally agree with that statement. I'm not sure what state. What about black holes? Oh wow, I'm like way behind on my comments. Apologies. What about black holes? How do you believe they fit into the simulation? I mean, everything in the universe will be part of the simulation. It's not like anything is going to be excluded, right? It's just a computational space. But black holes fit really nicely because the holographic principle It makes a lot of sense. That postulates that essentially every black hole contains its own universe. And when you go through not the event horizon, but a little further in, the vectors flip. And then what seemed like you falling in and your background is receding from you becomes indistinguishable from the horizon receding away from you, just like what we observe now in the universe. So then the postulation is, wait, are we in a giant black hole already? That's the holographic principle. Well, that's not the holographic principle, but it's an implication of the holographic principle. In that sense, you can think of the way you would automate the simulations is that you would run a simulation that allows for a universal evolution, essentially, that every universe collects into infinite number of black holes inside of itself, all this data, and then inside of these new black holes, a new universe forms with sometimes slightly more different laws of physics, just like the genetic code is similar from one being to another, but not exactly the same, right? There's always evolution. So that's how I would think in broad strokes it could fit. What do you theorize runs the simulation we live in? At least from my observation of the space, it seems that these beings, this is where it gets a little wild, so it's a little harder to talk about it with a straight face, but that's just what I'm observing. They're insect-like beings that weave realities, for lack of a better term. So, but I'm not claiming to know this for a fact. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing in the space. However, I'm fully open to the possibility that, well, one thing I know for sure, someone is truly there. One thing I know for sure, which is somebody is really there, real, that exists there even when we don't look. It's a real world. That I know for sure. Who are they really? What are their actual goals? Do they tell us the truth when they say they're simulating the space? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have a way to truly know. These are the claims that are put, like they're kind of like open about, and the code is discoverable, so that tells you something. Also, one thing, just to be sure if somebody is worried, they are for sure, a lot more advanced than us by a lot. So if anybody's worried that are interested to squash us, if they wanted that, we wouldn't be here. So that's not even it's silly to be worried about, because if they wanted us to be gone, we will be gone. What do you do with the laser? Again, you just project it on the surface, and you have to ingest a particular molecule that I cannot name because of legal reasons, and you will see code running behind the light. That's all. It's very simple. Oops. Okay, let's look at some comments from YouTube, and then we'll go back to TikTok. I love this guy. Wait. What? Are comments repeat themselves? Do comments repeat themselves? Or I'm just reading the same comments. Oh, here we are. Okay. Glad I stumbled upon your light. Well, I'm glad you did too, Mary. So using nature's helper coupled with laser, you will see the code. Yep. That's it. I've seen code reflections off a window going up into the sky. Hold that thought. I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to go see what we have on YouTube real quick. By the way, anybody are with us from Twitch or X? I wonder. Because usually I got a comment one time from Twitch, but I'm really interested to know. Okay, let me go back up the comments. Sure thing. He written more than a dozen. So, Brad, just a quick thing. Like, again, deeply appreciate everything you're saying, and I definitely will check out what you asked. I understand I understand why this holds water. I get it. But the statement, he's written more than dozens of books, in reality means nothing, right? A lot of people can write books, and they don't necessarily map into anything of true value. I'm not saying it doesn't in this case. I'm just saying that's not the thing that actually holds water for me. It needs to connect to something that actually is doing something. Reality being relational. Wait, Mr. Z, what does the circuit do? Alcock2341 says, "Hi Dan, did you look up Anthony Peake? He has discussed both simulation theory and the molecule. I think he would be highly interested in the experiment. Again, I need to hold on. Let me check again. Anthony Peak. I usually look up what people tell me pretty quickly. Is there a... Hold on. I don't know why... Hold on, checking. I've seen his face before. No, I have to be honest. I don't remember watching him. I will. I try to stay like very, so here's the thing. Because of the amount of information that's coming at me at all times, I'm trying to keep things simple, and also, how should I put this? Usually there's a particular style of type of way of approaching these things, and some people's ways don't fully align with the way that I think this needs to be addressed and when people should go about it. I have to, so two things. First of all, yes, I've seen his face before, Anthony Peak. Second thing is, no, if I have to be honest, I have not watched anything in depth by him, but now it's prepped on my next tab, so I will watch 5 minutes of what he's talking about. But here's what I'm watching for right away, okay? People's attitude, which tells me a lot about who they are as a person, and what are the level with which they're engaging with the material. If they're engaging on a very, very basic way, I will then look, okay, are they talking to somebody who doesn't really know anything about that and they're just breaking down a basic thing for them? Then it's okay. Then I will look at another thing by them, and I will look at something that I can potentially find of their deeper points. If in their deeper points I find that their analysis is super crude or arbitrary, I don't look deeper. It's a waste of time. Another thing that makes me drop a person that to be interested in is their attitude. If they're too charged, too zealous or excited, I'm not interested, because that's definitely it shows that there's a disconnect, or at least not full grasp of what we're dealing with here, and there's not actual knowledge. There's just kind of a lot of postulation. I'm not dealing with postulations from my end. I'm dealing with knowing it. There are some people who kind of aware from different perspectives, and I just want to be very honest that these are the three criteria that I'm looking for in a speaker or in a person, in a public speaker or a thinker. So, can you give me the elevator pitch of what you found and why? Your words are so interesting. I'm so curious. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's very simple. The very blunt claim is that a few years ago, I didn't land on it by mistake. I was trying to figure it out on the molecule that, again, I cannot name, but you already know what it is. I've had ultra realistic experiences that made it immediately clear to me that there is no way that this is just made by my brain. I started investigating. I have a little bit of background in physics, so it gave me the opportunity to kind of give me the ability to look slightly deeper than what the common folk would be able to do, go deeper into these subjects. And I try to postulate, okay, how can we potentially answer the question, is this really a real space? If it's real, there has to be answers here. And I became, obsessed is the wrong word, but I became very interested in answering that question. And it took me years to figure out how we can potentially address this. Eventually, after a very long process that we are addressing in the documentary that we're shooting, that we're outlining the exact process, I've landed on this idea that if you project a diffracted laser, because of the way that the light distribution, the way it happens, specifically with diffraction and lasers, there should be a possibility of getting signals between the layers of reality, so to speak. I did not think of it in terms of simulation at all. I never had interest in the simulation hypothesis. I always found it very boring and arbitrary because it creates more questions than it answers. Because it basically creates an arbitrary layer from which you really don't have a way to know what's going on, right? If you say, it's simulated by these beings, then from that point on, it's really up for grabs, because you can say the way they decided about the parameters of our world can be infinite number of just random things that they decided because of whatever they believe, or but whatever, however they are, and it makes it infinitely elastic. It's unpredictable to such a degree that it's so uninteresting, right? So I was never interested in that. But then I built the laser, I smoked the molecule, lo and behold, code running in the surface. At first, I was just taken aback. Obviously, I was kind of, I was like, what? And then I started showing people, and everybody saw the same thing. What's more is that everybody had the same reaction. The reaction was unfakeable. The reaction was of true amazement. People could not believe what they were seeing. And this is something that recently happened on my chat. I had a regular guy that always shows up on the chat, Cal, and he was trying, and it didn't work for him in the beginning, and then he tried, and then he came on the chat, and he said, dude, it's insane. I can't believe what I'm seeing. So I think it's the fact that it's so convincing all by itself. You just see it and you just know that you're looking at something real. So that's the elevator pitch. The details, the postulations around it, what the critics say, all of that stuff is essentially why I'm doing this live. So every day I'm engaging with more and more people and we're talking about it. Hope this outlines it well enough. Hey Dan, did you... okay, so then. Glad I've ran into you here. It's getting late. Talk to you later. Good night. Did you try to shine two lasers at once with two different colors? Yep. Apparently lasers don't mix, which is something I did not know either. Color of laser seemingly changes the code or reveals different code. The color of the code, well, the code, I don't think it has a color. So of course the color of the code will be the color of the laser, because that's the light. That is the frequency of the light that is coming back to your eye. So that will for sure be the you can't see color without the light, right? So if you project something, red laser on anything, it will be red. It doesn't matter what it is. You can't have like something appear a different color when you're projecting a red light on it, because you see with light. But there are, like in the green laser and in the blue laser, you definitely see more content than just the code. You still see the code, but in the green, for example, you have these weird arrows running around, just kind of like the recycling logo, the three arrows. And then in the blue, I've seen different beings that I've never seen before. I know it sounds like I'm kind of glossing over it, but because I don't have concrete answers, I'm trying not to expand too much because I don't want to confuse people. The code is always there in all three of them. And there's a lot of testing that needs to be done to determine exactly, if it's truly in the different frequency or was it something else that was different. Not that clear. So I'm tentatively saying all of this. Out of curiosity, how do you account for the possibility of confirmation bias or shared perceptual expectation among those who have seen the code rather than being objective evidence? That's a great question. It relates to what I'm approaching in the first video and what I'm calling epistemologically sound. There's something about the way it appears to you that makes it clear that you're looking at something real. Now, if you still want to insist that even that can be, like confirmational bias, you're starting to play with you're playing with the margins of what we understand about how things appear to us in general, because you're playing with the same question of how do I know that the couch really looks what it does to you the way it looks to me. You're asking the same question there, right? I know it doesn't sound like you do, but I'm telling you that's the realm where you're playing at that point, because there's certain rigidity to real objects that things that are either implied or hallucinated don't share, and that element, it has a word that I didn't know about before, but I discovered it by reading Anil Seth's book Being You, which I highly recommend. Very good book. It's just Anil Seth is a neuroscientist, and it's a really good book that talks about the newest, current cutting edge research in the qualia and consciousness space. And there's a word, it's called objectness. So objectness is a word designed to refer to the realism of real objects. If you're looking at a mug or cup, okay? Now, I'm asking you right now, right? Like, because we have AI and everything. Now, because of AI, it's actually plausible to postulate that maybe somehow this could be AI generated, right? But we still know that in a live, at least, we still don't know. We know that we don't have TikTok doesn't have the technology, and then it's across the platforms on YouTube and on others. YouTube definitely doesn't have the technology, right? So you know that there's certain things that are plausible, and other things are less plausible. So even though you know that AI can make it look this way now, because of this exact situation and how it appears and how this question was random and it's just like, that if I ask you what are the chances that this cup is AI generated, you'd say it's zero, right? Or you would say it's like the chances they're like almost zero, right? If you don't want to be, if you, why? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but you know what I mean, right? Like you know that. So just like you know that this cup was not generated by AI because of all the parameters that your brain if you would have to list all of them, we would be here for like 3 hours. In the exact same way, your brain is really good at determining what in fact is there because there's certain set of parameters that your brain is using to determine what in fact is real, to differentiate it from something that is maybe real to then something that is hallucinated or like, and so on and so on. So I'm saying all of this because when you see the code, it belongs in the family of this cup is not generated by AI. That's how concrete it is. It's not kind of like there or maybe, no, like it's there, right? And it behaves like a regular object. It has objectness. I don't know if that makes it clear, but I hope it does, because there's a conviction in the observation itself. Now, obviously, if you want to go, further in the conviction of humanity as a species, yes, you would have to put it through all the rigmarole and all the stringent elements and tools of science, 100%. Next step. But like Terence McKenna said, if it's real, it can take the pressure. That's all. If it's real, it's real. And eventually you will find a way to triangulate it. There's a little bit too much conviction in people's minds that you can. So, for example, confirmational bias. It doesn't work. Like it's not like when you enter a psychedelic space, anything I'm going to imply, you're going to see it. Especially not with that amount of fidelity. Like if you enter a mushroom trip, and I talk to you about frogs, then once in, I don't know, like a certain percentage of people, they might see a frog here and there or some frog motifs, okay? Sure. But they won't see that exact frog exactly like that with these exact specifics. And by the way, I people entered the space that knew nothing about what they're supposed to see often and saw the same thing. People who I told on purpose to look for something else to throw their scent off of it, and they still came back and said, well, I didn't see what you said, but I saw these Japanese looking things. So it was run in any which way. And the truth is that when you see it for yourself, you don't need anybody else to tell you. You know, immediately you know, just like you know that this cup right now in this moment is not generated by AI. So I hope this helps. How did you know it would work for more than one color of laser, 2, maybe 3 colors? No, I think it's across the entire spectrum. I think it's just that you need coherent light to actually see it. You need the same frequency. Yeah, Corey indeed is making his life on freedom and rights from his books and activities. That's all. That's pretty big, making a living on. Sure. I've been vetting Corey, and he's got some good info about natural law. What is natural law? Oh, Taoism. Okay, got it. Humans are light in the simulation because observation is no different than light reflecting of a big enough atom. Hi guys, we're all light. So light does not reflect off of atoms. But I get the gist of what you're trying to say, and I agree with the spirit of it. Bashar talks about it like you are. Do you have any thoughts on Bashar on YouTube? Not really. I watched some of the videos. In the beginning, I thought I was like, it kind of seemed to me like it's a shtick, right? What is this act with the closing of the eyes? What's the need for that? But then I saw him talk in an interview, and I changed my mind about him because he wasn't really tied to the proposition that this is real, and that kind of, and I'm not saying it is real or not real. It's just the fact that I saw that he wasn't married to the proposition that he's actually channeling. That made me kind of like immediately get off the, thinking of him as one of these, attention-seeking crazy people, because he basically said, look, because somebody asked him like, do you think that Bashar is real? And he said, look, the truth, I don't know. I really don't know. But because in that moment, I was like, okay, he's a good dude. Like, that's the most honest thing you can say, right? And he said, but we did do brain scans of people that went through my classes, and we could see an improvement, like actual tangible improvement in their performance and some other key elements that we're looking at. And I was like, okay, that's a reasonable attitude. And that's also the most honest thing you can say. So at that point, I was like, yeah, he's a good dude, and a lot of the stuff he says makes sense. I think he does, again, the big, parentheses here or whatever, and to say that obviously this is just my opinion, and I'm just like, I'm just talking shit. I don't really know. But it seems to me like he's overstepping his boundary when he's talking about, I think he shouldn't do that. I think he shouldn't talk specifics about aliens and stuff like that, because I know for a fact, very easy to become hyperbolic. I don't know for a fact. But I have a strong conviction that in the next year, we're about to find out. Yes. And because of that, all the people that say very specific things, I would try to refrain. Like I would not say things that are that specific, because then they might be rendered false. And I know that probably most of these people, because of the following, they're not going to suffer the consequences of their reputation anyway. But still, there's no need to be that specific. There's no way you can be. Also, I don't feel that some of his utterances about UFOs are correct, to be honest. But again, this is just my own bias, right? Like I also don't know for a fact. So, but he looks like a good dude. That's the bottom line. At some point, and thank you for the likes, guys. I appreciate it. At some point, light reacts like the observer, right? That's what they didn't tell us. So I don't know what you're referring to. From a physics standpoint, I don't know what that would mean, because we don't know what the observer is from a scientific standpoint at the moment. We literally know nothing about what the observer actually is. Nico, you're in the house. How you doing, man? I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to not talk about the subject you asked me about quantum computation. So I'm very, very glad you're here. If you want to come on, send a thing. If not, you can just remind me about the question and we'll talk about it in one moment. But I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for the gifts, brother. So yeah, first cause, that we don't know what the observer is. But I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say. There's no such thing as the observer at the moment in the physics frame. It doesn't exist. So when all religions say we're light, insane. All religions do not say we're light, because all light creates the wave collapse. Brother, you're mixing a lot of different things together, which I don't mind, but it's too much of a mishmash to actually to like answer truly. And I mean this with love, truly. Like I'm not trying to downgrade anything you're saying. It's just that you're saying things that are from so many different perspectives, and they are meshed together in this like ball of a thing, and it you can't really tease it apart. You can't actually comment on it. So unless you have a specific question. So a light collapse. See, the wave function is not the wave of light. See, the wave function is something quite esoteric, but obviously it's a real thing. But it's not the wave of light. First of all, light reflecting off big enough atoms. So atoms are too small for light to reflect off of. We did take. There is one image of atoms that we took in a special microscope, but it's not through bouncing light off of it. What comes? That you can. So what happens is that you can have an interaction between light and atoms. That's true, but in order to see them, you need a collection of like many photons coming back from the same direction. You understand? That's the big difference. It's a Starbucks, most likely it's AI. That's funny. That's actually really funny. Daryl Anka Bashar has done brain scans when he channels Bashar. He uses 100% of his brain, which is not true of scans when he isn't. Again, this is a hyperbolic claim, right? Because first of all, this idea that we're all using 10% of our brains, we've now known for 30 years that this is not the case, by the way. This is something that people keep repeating in pop culture, but it is not the case. You always use 100% of your brain. It's just that we're not quite sure what certain regions do. The fact that they're not constantly lit up, all of them, does not mean that they're not working. Also, if your entire brain just lights up, you're gonna get into a seizure. His linguistic and perspective is not human. No, it's very human. But you just said it's not human, and you said speaking PhD grade level. So what? That's the wrong direction of thought. Trust me. That's, first of all, he speaks very much like a human. From what he said, see, his brain lights up fully. So that would be one, like, without even looking at it, I can tell you that is 100% not the case. Cannot be. His entire brain cannot possibly light up. Maybe it was like kind of like an overstatement, but definitely not the case. Cannot happen. Otherwise, you'll be dead. Or maybe not dead, but he literally fries brain. Come on, late. Wait. So. Bernadette, which one is the charlatan statement? Because I'm way behind. I was looking at YouTube the whole time. Woo! So, Andrew from TikTok, Brad, is saying he gets into theta level. That's all. That's what he's saying. Which I believe would be much more accurate, yeah. Let's see. Somebody's putting this all the time. I've seen code reflecting off of window going into the sky. Fascinating. That's space. They naturally select from maximum number of black holes. Who's they? How you feel about European colonizing the Earth? Europeans colonizing the Earth? You realize that most people on the planet are Asians, right? in India and the Far East. By the way, you want to hear a fun statistic? Do you know what the percentage of Caucasian people in the world is? So I haven't checked. Let's see. I haven't checked this in a while. The last time I checked it was like 6 or 7 years ago, so it probably changed drastically. But it will blow your mind either way. Let me see. What is the percentage of Caucasian people on Earth right now? So that is strange because somebody wrote, yeah, of 8 billion. Let's see. I'm going to run the numbers 1 second. 235. You guys still here? Cool. So actually, okay. So actually, it's much larger than. I need to look at what exactly they measured. But at the moment, it says 29%, which is definitely the minority, of course. But the minority was, last time I checked, the minority was like insane. It was like 10% or something like that. And I have to look at exactly what they call, I guess, white or Caucasian. But anyways, it's definitely a minority in the world. It's just like if aliens would be looking at us, they would definitely not think that we are predominantly white. So say we do live in a simulation. What does knowing do, and why does knowing change anything? Wait. So say we do live in a simulation. What does knowing it do? Why does knowing it change anything? Great question. In initial stages, nothing, absolutely nothing. However, you do want to be aware of what is the actual environment that you're in. So if the underlying structure is a computational code of some sort, either coded by other beings or some kind of a function that just runs through reality, you're then interacting with the real thing versus the thing you thought was real. So if you thought the laws of physics were real, you would always be tethered to and limited by the laws of physics. You could never go faster than the speed of light and all that stuff, right? Maybe, just maybe, you can actually rewrite some of the code, bend the rules, not necessarily be bound by the laws of physics. These are all possibilities if you understand what the code is doing. When quantum physics was discovered, or quantum mechanics to be more accurately, originally, it was pretty clear to everyone at that time that we will never use any of this for something that is applicable to our day-to-day life, because it's just so far out there. It's like, it's like, okay, we understand something about reality, but it's never going to be relevant to our lives. Lo and behold, less than a decade after, they made lasers possible. They made conductors possible. So the computers would not be possible without understanding quantum mechanics. Lasers would not be possible without understanding quantum mechanics. So the application are not always immediately apparent. And that should not be the driving force behind understanding something. You being mean to Butterfly Boy. Who's Butterfly Boy? Just like the color is what I'm attracted to. The color, man. Excuse me, up way of thinking, but I'd be interested to observe the code on... Oh yeah, it's on everything. On your skin too, by the way. Strange 9. On animals, on your skin, everywhere. There is a spider in the refrigerator. The refrigerator has feelings too, bro. You forgot an O there. Maybe a fish is reflective just to see how dramatic the change would be. Huh? How do you think it feels? Well, why does the grass make eyes bleed when I sing? Oh my god, people. You guys are losing your minds at this hour. Do you think it's reading Q codes and other data? I thought I saw this through reflection in a window. I'm not sure. Zero grass. Okay, I don't know what this means. Hello, Dolly. Hey, Dolly. I am. Nice. You're in the right place. Well, basically is like the movie The Matrix. The amount of power to create a simulation that we are all in our universe. Actually, you won't need that much power, Andrew, because you will borrow computational power and energy from all the spaces that you create. So you're going to have infinite energy. Nico, are you in the house? Are you here? Because if you are, I want to talk about the quantum, the question that you asked 3 days ago. I like Bashar, but don't put much credence in channeling. Yeah, kind of fall in the same category. Religion, belief right now in the water, go to sleep. You go to sleep. You don't want to go to sleep? Can't jump on a call this late, but happy to hear your thoughts. Entropy. So remind me the question again, Nico. First of all, I want to know you're still here. While I'm scrolling through the questions. I need like a recent. Oh, okay, there you go. A classical physics is an emergent property of quantum rules. Right. So the question was about entropy in the context of quantum computation. Was that the question? Oh, I see, Bernadette. Yeah, I agree with that. What happens after death? Exit from simulation? No, I think you like reincarnation is a real thing. You just keep yours. Your informational pattern keeps kind of like circling until it's done. I recommend you check out Dolores Cannon. Brother, Dolores Cannon is definitely a confused person. I tell you that. No, no, Dolores is definitely a charlatan. That I can guarantee you. She's a very dangerous person. She actually, I don't know if you know this, but she actually drove quite a few people to bad places. Also, yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, stay away from that realm. Believe me. Our classical physicist, our classical physics is an emergent property of quantum rules. Yes. I'm trying to remember the specifics. I just don't remember. So, like, what you're stating is just true. I'm trying to remember what was the point there. Yeah. Let me run it back a little bit, Brad. Here's the thing. I don't remember the details right now, and I don't like to say things in like a vacuum, but it usually takes me a very so I'm willing to do. So I have this function in my brain that I do where I kind of if something is important enough for me, I would go in like a pretty, you know, sometimes it would take me months to kind of go through this like process with the person and I would look really deeply into what they're doing, right? If I land on a particular place with them, if I categorize them in this place where the emotion that I just felt when you mentioned her name, I know for a fact that that's just a no-go zone, right? Now, it's true that you always want to be able to revisit whatever it is, and actually, I guess now I will. But from what I remember, and because I don't remember the details, I don't want to just speak out of turn. But I do remember for a fact that first of all, forget about the fact that she just makes certain predictions with the amount of hubris and confidence of somebody who's just like full of shit. But then there obviously never came true. And then she just proceeded to never talk about like as if like yeah we're just gonna keep going like nothing happened. Yeah, that's a con artist right there. So that alone should tell you that that's a no-go zone. But I do remember there was some pretty nefarious things there. Um, Also, I just realized something thanks to what you just posted that I have. I need to work on the. This is way too much animosity that I want to have in my body for something that actually doesn't matter. This is crazy. Like I actually felt like a like because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, that need when you kind of know something about something and then somebody's taking advantage of somebody you care or love or just of people. Because they don't know enough about that thing that you do know enough about, and so you kind of feel like this like almost revulsion. It's like what's the word? It's you're enraged. Well, enraged is too much. You're not like berserk, right? But like you feel it's more than angry. It's kind of like it's the audacity, right? The audacity, and it's like and also like you see right through that, and then somebody takes advantage of somebody else. It's like infuriating. Yeah, I guess that was the word, infuriating, and And yes, I actually think this emotion is also healthy at certain places to kind of like protect other people. But I think I'm done with that emotion. Like I don't need it. I think it's okay. And I just realized that I just felt it. So when you said that, so it's a really good thing to notice because I got to work on that. I shouldn't have that strong of an emotion for something that doesn't really actually touch on my life. But yeah, I can tell you without a doubt, she's. I don't want to say not a good person because obviously I don't know her, but like the way she operates, she obviously only have her best interest at heart and nobody else's. But yeah, everything that happened was just great because I just realized that I'm maybe not as above the level that where I thought I was, with like controlling my inner world, and that's great. Um, no, I know she's no longer alive. I just the content is still alive, is what I mean. I think I'm just like I'm a little disappointed in myself to still have that emotion in me. But it is what it is. I got to work on that. Yeah. Can't jump on a call. When do you want to feel the narrative? Okay. Oh, here it is, Nico. Okay, brother. So Nico says Wolfram says entropy is likely the computational cost. Entropy is the likely computational cost of process happening most intuitive, definitely. Okay, yeah. Okay, I think I'm in the ballpark of what we're talking about. So basically the conversation was about the link between how regular computation arises from quantum computation. And it's a similar question to how classical physics arises from quantum physics. So the world at bottom is quantum. There's no question about that. But the quantum effects, when it gets over a certain scale, together they average out to seem like what we see as the classical world. In the computational world, and especially through the Wolfram frame, what you have is the scenario. I think the hypergraph is where this arises, right? Yes. Jonathan is his main mathematical physicist, right? That's the guy that I forgot his name last time. And to anybody who doesn't know, Stephen Wolfram is a known mathematician and technologist and physicist. And in the last few years, he developed a physics frame that seems to be very promising because it uses computational graphs to basically outline everything we understand about the world, including some things that seem to be outside of what we call our world. And it makes sense of parallel worlds, it makes sense of how field equations would connect to the quantum world and all that stuff. And part of that is this translation from the quantum computation state to the regular computation state. And I think if I remember correctly, the hypergraph is what they're using to actually look at this particular scenario through. And then topologically, the boundaries that the hypergraph creates are the boundaries of the many worlds. So in other words, you can have the hypergraph describes all the hyperlinks of the causal graph. And the causal graph describes any particular set of events inside of one history. I'm just kind of mapping it out for myself really at the moment. And then the hyperlinks are essentially the links that are connected in between all the nodes on one level of the tree. I think that's correct. And then, so you can use any node on the hypergraph and then any relationship between the nodes on the hypergraph basically tells you the relationship between the many worlds. And the many worlds are relating directly to what quantum physics is, because ultimately the quantum object is the wave function, which is the thing that sweeps through the hypergraph. I think I get this right. Dude, I gotta go back and watch his breakdown of this. But anyways, so the way that I think that this happens, according to what they're saying, is that you have any computational step on the hypergraph would give rise to all the possibilities of all the worlds on that step. Let's see. Okay, I think my brain is just a little bit. There's like 3 key things that I don't exactly remember, and I don't want to confuse. Let me rewatch that thing with Jonathan, and I'll break it down next time, because that's a really good one. There's one where he breaks it down for like, it's not too long. It's not like the 5-hour ones that they do. It was like 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and he breaks down the majority of the hypergraph. I'm gonna rewatch that, and then we're gonna touch up on that. Wow. Yeah, my brain just like, because there's 3 things I'm not sure about, and each and every one of them, if I'm wrong about that one, and it's very specific. So if I'm wrong about that one, then I'm just standing on a house of cards, and it's not really gonna track. So let me rewatch that one. This is great. This is really good retouching for myself. Thanks, Nico. Sometimes when people take advantage of others, bring righteous integration. Sure, but they didn't mean well, and I don't have to respect them for that. I think this emotion is okay to have at certain things. Yeah, that's true. But it doesn't serve me. Like, it's too strong. Like, I watched my face when Bernadette, when I was saying it, and it was like my face was like that, right? I don't want to have that face. It's not good for my skin. It's tension. There's no need. I'm not saying pretend, don't feel it. I'm saying I want to get to a place where I feel it less or not at all. Like, I just don't want to feel it inside. Band that connected it to other, and to assume among them to separate the equal station. Wait, I think I missed something. When intercourse of inhumane events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the physical band. Sorry, that's a little vague for me, this context. Okay. Oh yeah, and I appreciate you, Brad. Really, like, I appreciate also that you seem to be very open-minded and malleable and flexible, and I'm the same way. So I appreciate that. I'm definitely gonna follow your channel and check out what's going on there, and check out what you told me to check out. Check out. How many more times can I say check out? I see. I get it. Thank you. I appreciate that you see my view. She is no longer. Oh yeah, PBS Spacetime did a video about 6 weeks ago or so that gravity may be a result of entropy on the 2D surface of the universe. It's wildly mind-blowing. Yeah, so that is, I don't know specifically about this PBS Spacetime. It's not just gravity, by the way. It's the anthropic principle. It postulates that everything in the universe is a result of a 3D projection of a 2D from a 2D surface outside of the universe, which essentially is what the black hole is, which is why Leonard Susskind is the initial scientist who came up with this idea, and now a lot of people kind of like working with this frame. Declaration to end this despotism. I didn't understand your last 3 texts. I'm gonna try and read it one more time. If you can clarify, that would be great, though. Earth and laws of nature and nature's God. A decent respiratory virus will declare the causes which impel them. It sounds like you're preaching, to be honest. And that's not effective. I can tell you right away. Okay. What do we got? Okay, guys. So I think today it's getting a little late for me, and I do want to get some sleep. I think we'll adjourn for today. I'm going to be here again tomorrow with a lot more great content. Thank you, everybody on YouTube and on X and on Twitch and definitely on TikTok. I appreciate you all. If you like the content, you can always check out my YouTube channel, Dango Thoughts. You can see it in my link tree on my profile here, or you can watch my videos here on TikTok on the subject that I'm talking about. And I'm here every single day. I'm talking about science, religion, spirituality, as you saw today. And yeah, would love to have this chat tomorrow. Revolution. Okay, this is a fun hour. I wish I could stream in this hour every day, but it's too late for my hours. But again, I'm here every single day, guys. Did I forget anything? I don't know, probably. But peace and love to everybody. Please come back. Oh, Jose, thank you so much for the gifts. I appreciate you. You always come by and you're so nice. Is this the Jose? Is this the hour that you usually come, or where are you in the world? Thank you, Brad. I'll follow you, and I'll also next. Oh, California, cool. You're also not sleeping. Would you? So I'll be. This is like kind of adjourning. I've seen you here a few times, and you always come, and you're so nice. Would you like to come on and talk tomorrow? Do you want to come on and talk tomorrow when I'm in the next chat? If so, please come by. It'd be great to get to know who you are and to chat with you. In the meanwhile, guys, I'm calling it a night. Peace and love, everyone. Maybe, yeah, let me know. Tomorrow, I don't know the time either. I'm in San Diego for a couple of events, and so it will depend on that. Yeah, I don't know, unfortunately. The next day, so tomorrow is tomorrow is Sunday, right? Yeah. Monday, I will post a reminder, both on TikTok. Not a reminder, like a thing that tells you when it's gonna start. So put it on the calendar on TikTok and on YouTube. There's gonna be a reminder. So basically, yeah. But tomorrow, I'm not sure what time. In any case, thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you so much for always showing up. Peace and love for everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Ciao. See you YouTube, Twitch, and X, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. Wait, there you go. Wait, GovCorp Watch. I got you. I'm gonna follow.